All aboard!
That's what I like to hear. Now, as being part of the Betsy James train ride today, you get to be my captive audience as I give you a full tour of This Is the Place Heritage Park. Let's begin by saying hello, Mitchell, to our gate master here at This Is the Place.
Hello, Mitchell.
As well as seeing our Pioneer Pavilion on the left-hand side. Now, this pavilion houses various monuments, such as the Pioneers of 1847 monument to commemorate our black pioneers who followed our pioneer brothers and sisters along the trail. Thank you very much for your service. As well as our other This Is the Place monuments. You'll see one of two today here at This Is the Place. Now, that person that you see facing the rest of the Salt Lake Valley at the top front is Brigham Young himself. And that monument was actually developed and constructed by his grandson, Mahan Rai Young. You can learn all about Mahan Rai in our very own Pioneer Center, where he has a fantastic presentation on him about all of his artwork. On the right-hand side, you are able to see some of our very own apple orchard, patterned after the orchard that Brigham Young had in his experimental farm. It is said that Brigham Young brought over an apple seed of apples that could grow as heavy as 1 pound. If you don't know how heavy that is the size of my hand. Just one of those apples could give you a single apple pie filling. It is possible that those apples came from what is known as the Big Apple, otherwise known as New York State. So if you'd like to confirm if that is correct for me, please see me at the end of the tour. We also have, coming through the trees on our left-hand side, the Mormon Paladin Monument. This is to commemorate the 543 men and 12 women who would not be left behind to travel all the way by foot to what is now known as San Diego, California, in order to fight a battle against the Mexican soldiers who were trying to fight the Americans there. Now, the members of the Mormon Battalion had to walk all that way against storms and other such dangerous acts of God, as you could possibly say, throughout their journey. But by the time they made it to San Diego, they actually ended up being there by the time the war was over, meaning that they did not have to fire a single shot in the name of the U.S. military. And by the time they returned home, they ended up holding the record for the longest military march in U.S. history, which is over 2,000 miles and has not been broken to this day. You can see that blue train on the right-hand side. Sorry, I'm trying to give you your right, my left. Which will be currently ridden during our Pioneer Day celebrations this July 24th, this Friday. If you'd like to join us for some good old-fashioned Pioneer dancing, for some watermelon eating competitions, and a lovely concert that our Heritage Park players are putting on for us, please join us that day to join in the celebrations. Now, this pink home you're seeing on the right-hand side is our very own Brigham Young's experimental farmhouse. Now, it was not originally here. It was originally in what is now known as Sugar House, and is the reason that town has its name. You see, part of Brigham's experimental farm was to grow anything and everything to see if it would grow here in Utah's arid desert climate. That includes anything from alfalfa to apples, so named, to silkworms, which were a ill forms that Triple attempted, as well as sugar beets. Those sugar beets were so prolific that it gave the building as well as the town its eventual nickname. On the left-hand side, you can see our Walk of Faith right outside our garden place. This Walk of Faith tells the story of the 13 different, or I believe it's actually 9, different religious communities that eventually came to call Utah its home and made sure that the communities would thrive. Now we're hitting a bit of a dry patch, folks, quite literally, where I have nothing really to show you. So let's go a little bit more into the esoteric parts of Utah's state code. Starting with the question, does anyone know what Utah's state cooking utensil is? I'll give you a hint. It's something you cook in. It's not gas iron, but it is over a fire. It is the Dutch oven. And especially apropos for the 24th of July, as we are having all of our Dutch celebrations throughout the valley, please, if you've never had peach cobbler from the Dutch oven, you are missing out. Continuing on, you can see a bit of our hand-card experience on the left that you can get with your Pioneer Experience wristbands. Please go on and try some of the little tweaks that we have for you of Pioneer hand-card life. We don't have a river for you to ford, but you'll just have to use your imagination. We also have our Fort McHenry replica on the left-hand side. Most forts are made out of brick or wood. This one is made out of stone. Most forts are where most pioneer towns are now constructed because that is where pioneers were felt the most safe. Continuing on to our livery train stop, you'll be able to visit our so-named livery on the right-hand side to get a good pony ride as well as visit our pioneer pen corral. You'll also be able to visit our blacksmith, which was an essential part of pioneer life, and learn all about that part of keeping our settlers happy with all metal implements they needed. Oh, by the way, did I mention the fort does allow you to learn how to make a rope. Alright folks, if no one else is getting off, please make sure that we have room for those getting on so that we can keep them nice and safe. While they are getting on, might I also mention each of the cabins you see around here are from the original families that built them. They were moved here from various locations such as Emery County and all the way down to St. George. Thank you all so much for joining us, folks. Hope you have a good time pulling a hand cart. Alright, now that we have everyone off who wants to get off, welcome aboard Betsy Jane. My name is Jonah, and I will be your conductor for today alongside our driver, Blade. Now, quick question, I just need to do this to be sure. Tickets, please, folks, tickets, please. Can I see all of your wristbands? Fantastic, thank you very much for showing me. That is the best way that we keep our trains running here at this little place. So your contributions go to a great cause. Now, have you all been on a train before today? Yes, fantastic. In that case, I do not need to explain the rules to you. So I'll take it as rote and give you a little test.
All aboard!
There you go, folks. That was a test, and some of you may have done a little bit worse than others. But you all remembered it in the end. Now, to continue my train tour that you are now all a captive audience for, let me tell you about this home on the right-hand side, the John Pack Home replica. Now, this home, or its original, used to stand on what is now the northwest corner of the Conference Center of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And John Pack was one of the founding fathers of what was known as the University of Wasatch. If you don't know what that is, let me give you its modern name, the University of Utah. And they also mentioned if you're related to anyone, pioneer-wise, it will most likely be John Pack and Ruth Mosier. I myself am related to them. On the left-hand side, we have our Heber C. Kimball home replica, which is a quarter of the size of the original, as well as being inverted. Now that rock wall on the outside was one way that Heber C. Kimball could pay immigrants to the Salt Lake Valley to get a living wage before getting a different job. He would have them building up to 9 feet tall before tearing it down again. On the right-hand side, you can see our Deseret News office where you can learn all about how printing presses were used. You can also visit our Huntsman Hotel, who has our resident chef Todd making fantastic food all day long. Until 4 p.m. that is.
Is that the grill?
That is our Heritage Grill. Of course, I'm hungry too. I can't wait for 1:15, which is my lunch. Of course, it's been a pleasure having you all on board. Thank you so much for joining us. One second, folks, while we get everyone on board.
One moment, folks. Okay.
All right, everyone, welcome aboard the Betsy Jane. My name is Jonah, and I'll be your conductor for this morning. Or is it morning still? I think it actually might be afternoon. You know, clouds, when they get into my way, they kind of confuse me. But that's all right. We're happy that they're here. Now, have you all been on a train today here at this place? No, I'm seeing some head nods no. In that case, we're going to go over all the rules involved, starting with tickets, please. Tickets, please, folks. Can I see those wristbands? Fantastic. That is the way that we help make sure that these trains can run here at this place, so we thank you for your contribution. The first rule, of course, is to please remain seated at all times while the train is moving until it comes to a complete stop at one of our 5 stops here at this place. Second, please keep your hands, arms, feet, and other extremities inside the train car at all times until the train does come to a complete stop. Finally, I have a very specific catchphrase in order to get us started and let our train driver, Blade, know that we are ready to go. When I say all aboard, you all say full steam ahead at the top of your lungs. Let's try that out now, shall we?
All aboard!
That's what I like to hear. Now, continuing on our tour that you are now all my captive audience for, you can see down on Main Street of various buildings that we have, such as the Heber Eastward Schoolhouse, where you can learn all about school back in the 1860s, as well as our very own paint and barber shop, where you can learn how to shave a balloon, or if you'd like to, even learn how to shave your own face. We also have our Johnson Saddlery available for you to get your own leatherworking projects done, as well as the DCMI building, which is currently our candy store, as well as toy store. We have our drugstore, Godby Pits, where you can get a prescription filled from the Desert Hospital with our good friend Robert, as well as our woodworking shop and our pottery barn. The pottery barn is currently closed for lunch, but the woodworking store is where you can get all your woodworking needs, including furniture and a coffin. You know, if you need it. We have on the right-hand side our Anderson Home, which is where you can learn all about pioneer goodies and the people who would make them. You can taste them, I promise they're delicious. As well as we come to our next stop, learn about the Boots Shop and our telegraph office on the left-hand side, and the tithing office on the right. They even have their own working telegraph in between the two. All aboard, folks. Welcome aboard the Betsy Jane. My name is Jonah, your conductor. Thank you all so much for joining me. I hope you have a great rest of your day here. This is the place. All right. I know your group is split, but don't worry, we'll be moving very shortly. For those of you who just got on, please keep your hands, feet, and other extremities inside the train car at all times. Please remain seated until the train comes to a complete stop. And finally, I have a specific catchphrase in order for us to get this train started. When I say all aboard, please say full steam ahead at the top of your lungs.
All aboard!
Full steam ahead!
Well done. Alright, to continue our train tour, on the right-hand side we have a replica of the Sport Anti-Grist Mill. Now, this mill is not currently running, but when it does run, the mill pond right behind it feeds the water wheel that you can see in the back to turn a giant grindstone in the center of the building. That grindstone is used by settlers to keep their flour and corn safe for the winter by grinding it into a fine meal. Furthermore, we have our mini train that surrounds the mill pond that you are more than welcome to take a ride on. Trust me, folks, it's one of the best days to do it because it is a lovely time to see the entire Southern Valley. Say hello, folks, to our mini train drivers. We are coming up on our next stop, which is right next to a gold panning site, otherwise known as affectionately the Gold Rush River. It also has our treasure house where you can learn all about the geology of Utah and how pioneer settlers would use it to the best of their ability. Finally, we have our Native American Village on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, the presentation that we would normally have for Native American Village is not currently being presented, but you're still more than welcome to explore it to your heart's content. Also, that ship you see right there is a replica of the ship Brooklyn. That ship is what brought Mormon pioneers families to the East Coast in order to let them get safe passage all the way to the West Coast to settle Colombo, California, one of the initial towns of the California Gold Rush. Thank you all so much for joining me, folks. Hope you have a great rest of your day here at this place. Got everything all right? Fantastic. That's what I like to hear.
He's saying, come on. No. There's Cora.
We're just waiting to make sure that everyone is going to be safely on the side of the road before we continue on. Looks like we will be. So, you all know how to get this started if you've been on the train before. Oh, never mind. We have a family who really wants to get on, so we're going to wait for them. We are waiting for you. Don't need to run.
Thank you.
Now that we are all on board and ready to ride,
Change your minds. Get back on.
fantastic. We're getting right back on. That's what we like to hear.
Come on, girls.
There we go. Now, you've all been on my train before, right? Or a train? You've not been on a train yet today? Okay. Oh, I see you're on the Black Hawk.
Yeah.
Well, in that case, I don't need to give my spiel because hopefully my fellow train conductor has given it to you. As such, I think you all know the drill. Let's test it out.
All aboard!
Full steam ahead!
There we go. That you all passed with flying colors. Now, as we continue on past this treasure house that we have here, let me tell you a little bit about this scrub oak that's going to be right around us shortly. Now, this is what is known as North American hybrid scrub oak. This scrub oak has been here for about 5,000 to 7,000 years, ever since about 4,000 years after the Great Bonneville Lake turned into what we now know as the Great Salt Lake. It was both a lot warmer and a lot more humid back then, and so the biologists at the University of Utah have praised us for making sure that this scrub oak can continue to grow in these arid conditions, and we hope to keep them safe long after we are gone. Now, let me tell you a little bit about that grayish building on the right-hand side. That is the home of Mary Fielding Smith. Now, Mary Fielding was wife to Hiram Smith, brother to the original prophet of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she paired her faith in the church with what is known as a fierce disposition, to the point where she brazenly told her wagon company on the way west, "I shall beat you to the valley, and I will not ask any help from you either." And indeed, she actually managed to fulfill her prophecy in that she managed to beat her wagon train to the valley about 7 hours ahead of her wagon train, because the other wagon trains tried to get ahead early in the day, but a storm came through and completely trashed their oxen and horses to the point where they needed to spend several hours catching them. On the left-hand side, you can see a small white obelisk, which is the original Visit the Place monument. We're passing it right now through those trees. It is where most historians agreed in 1947 was where Brigham Young said those famous words, "This is the right place, drive on." Yes, that is the correct words. He said the right place. This place is a moniker. On the right-hand side, we have our Pioneer Children's Memorial. These 17 standing stones house 616 names of pioneer children who lost their lives along the trail in pursuit of religious liberty and freedom. The Deseret Hospital on the right-hand side is home to our Utah Quilt Field Museum. Every quilt has a story to tell, as does every woman who made them. If you'd like to see one of our most evocative presentations here at this place, please go and pay them a visit. You can also get a prescription there for God Because Drugstore. Finally, we have the last building before I continue my train tour anew, the Brigham Young Academy on the right-hand side. This is a replica of the original, which unfortunately burned down in what is now known as Brigham Young University Provo. In fact, you can still see the original foundations of that building down south. Finally, if you'd like to enjoy a special presentation from our Heritage Park players at the bank, I believe that there is a changing of funds happening in just a short amount of time.